When I was a kid, I used to pretend to be James Bond. You know, I'd look in the mirror and say, my name is Bond, James Bond. And I'd pretend to smoke cigarettes I didn't have. And, you know, then the Man from U.N.C.L.E. came on with Robert Vaughn, and he was cool. And then Matt Helm, Dean Martin, came on with his spy spoof, sort of James Bond genre, but funny. But he was cool. I mean, Dean Martin was cool, you know. So cool, and of course, I could go on and name so many names, Marlon Brando on the waterfront. So many, but I was interested in being cool, projecting myself in that way. I knew immediately that of all the things I could be, if at all possible, I would like to try to be cool. So I was a fairly cool teenager. Then I had my whatever success, working with hand in hand with corporate America, and I was a cool middle-aged guy. And then this thing happened, this inevitable sort of great big anvil in the sky, sort of Damocles, which falls upon us all, visited me, which is fucking old age. Now I'm 65. In September 11th, I'll be 66. And I tell you that almost every morning I wake up and the first thought is, fuck, I'm 65! And it's frightening. But I still have an interest in trying to be cool. It becomes considerably more difficult when you're 65. Now, you can dress up like this, and as Pete Townsend once said to me, it's mutton dressed up as lamb. So you can try, the clothes don't quite, you're going to lose your looks, you know. This is a kind of a 5-minute tutorial on how to grow old gracefully and still keep as much of that cool as you possibly can. Take a lot of showers. Nobody wants a dirty old man, I've come to find the hard way. Brush your teeth 3 times a day and wear nice clothes, you know, as far as possible. But you have to accept the fact that you're going to lose your looks. Now, I've already had one facelift. I'm not embarrassed about it. I don't know why people are weird about that. And a nose job. Someone said you got ripped off. But yeah, I did those things. And there's things you can do to hold it at abeyance, to put your finger in the dike. Well, that might not be appropriate and politically correct in the world that we live in, but you know what I mean, not that kind of dike. You can forestall the inevitable. But just as I had tried so hard in the mirror, my name is Bond, James Bond, when I was 12, and then a cool hippie, yeah, definitely a cool hippie, during the late 60s and early 70s, going on to be like a cool college student and a cool corporate writer for America and author and da-da-da-da-da. Now I have to try to be a cool 65-year-old man, which is considerably more difficult. So in order to pull that off, and knowing that, you know, you're going to be on a hole in not that many years, and that you've seen, make the best of it. Don't worry that you've lost your looks, because you have, you know. And, you know, you see people like Yoko Ono, they've always got big sunglasses and a hat and a scarf. But whatever you do to try, whether you tuck it or, you know, pin it up or try to cover it, you don't look so good anymore. And you just have to deal with that and accept that. And then you can move on and don't let that bother you. Just stay away from mirrors, maybe would be one. So I live with that every day, and it only gets worse. I mean, in my more cynical times, I've said the only good thing about being old is it doesn't last very long. But consider the alternative. Listen, in many ways for me, life began at 60. I'm not 40. I've had romances. I've traveled the world. I've done exactly what I wanted to fucking do. And I have, of course, was visited with this blessing from heaven, which is a little boy. So now I have an 11-year-old son who I take care of exclusively. And we have hopefully a great relationship. And when I make a mistake, I cop to it immediately. He washed his black jeans in bleach the other day that I just bought for him. He asked me to buy for him. He thought it was fabric softener. I went crazy. Later, I thought about it and apologized and said, listen, I was out of line. You were just trying to, to help out. And, what do you know about bleach from fabric softeners? So you worry about the things that are important and you let the little stuff go because it's mostly all little stuff. And don't worry about the fact that you don't look beautiful anymore. Because at this point, if there's any beauty left, it's got to come from the inside out. I'm Geoffrey Giuliano.